We're back.
We're about to see Shoko Sato make his way to the ring. The number 2 about to make contender rising. Shoko Sato finished second place. He's carved out a career built on power and persistence. As a boy who played soccer, found his true calling in martial arts during high school and Philippine youth. Rose through the ranks to captain the Shooto Bantamweight Championship in minutes twice. Making debut at RIZIN and landmark 6 and win over Olympic wrestler Genji Umeno. So Shoko Sato does have a proven track record for such a elite wrestler's champion. Yeah, for sure. And he has the finishing prowess, the experience, everything to cover. He can really cause an upset tonight. He's got 20 wins by knockout. He has submission. So against Sabatello is not there. He has the ability to finish the fight wherever it goes. Experienced veteran. He's not going to have any heads to deal with everything that comes his way. And he can create a scramble. I'm going to say, see the way that Shoko Sato is looking up the ring and calculating. That is the most vertical kick place I've ever seen with Shoko Sato. Yeah, for sure. The size of Sato. And he did it again in his ear in front of over 500 people in yesterday's fighting. And right now he's in. Right now he's in Shoko Sato's corner.
All right, Shoko Sato versus Danny Sabatello. It is a beautiful little RIZIN concoction. The grizzled, underrated Japanese veteran against the brash American grinder who has made a career out of being a wrestling irritant in MMA. The market obviously says Sabatello is the right favorite here, priced accordingly, and you can see why. His wrestling is suffocating. His pace is relentless. He's built a resume on dragging people into ugly, thankless fights, but numbers aren't everything. And in this case, the sharper play sits with Sato, in my opinion. Bantamweight and RIZIN has been surprisingly good for dogs, 11 and 17 since the start of last year. coming into this event. Sato embodies this archetype. He's resilient, well-rounded, and criminally overlooked. He's not going to win any cage control contest with a grinder like Sabatello, but he has the kind of striking that can make every second of a separation feel like a crisis. And his defensive grappling is quite solid, especially in scrambles. And the blueprint for an upset is definitely right there. Survive the early pressure, force some resets, and chip away until Sabatello starts looking less like a juggernaut and more like a guy struggling to hold on. Then there's the distance prop, sitting at the over, sits at a tidy 19-9 at bantamweight since the start of last year. Coming into this event, that trend leans heavily into what this fight probably looks like. Sabatello grinding, Sato defending, both men wearing each other down without instant resolution. You don't bet this fight expecting a quick kill. You bet it expecting attrition, grit, and a chance that the overlooked veteran turns this narrative into profit. Sabatello favored, but Sato is the pick. Oh, caught him.
Shoko Sato did a good job there, just clearing the knee. Really careful to get stuck in the head after. Keep up the back, take the pressure off. Sabatello going to the back a little too quick there, really overbalanced. Shoko Sato will be in one in his last four. One short one for Genji Umeno in his last four. Looking for another takedown here. It's Sabatello.
Oh. Shoko Sato caught him with the up with the. He went to go for the takedown. Sabatello went to go for the takedown, and Shoko Sato caught him with a kick.
Sato with the takedown defenses and a better striking on the feet. Probably edged, or is edging the fight so far. Here we see Paul, there's the kid. He chased him up for 2 right hands. 1, 2. Then he throws an uppercut just afterwards. Here we see again. Here's the next one. Paul, right on the chin too. Just flushed a little bit. He went after him. So gets the hips and driving straight to that rear body block. For those that don't realise when it goes through the ropes, you've still got to hold your position and then start ringside. Potential next matchup would be. Looks like he's going to go in real quick here. Quite close. One kick here from Shoko Sato. Sabatello through the switch. Sliding jab from the Italian gangster. Shooting for a double. Good job of trying to get to the back. Shoko Sato has enough experience to just kind of counter that. Almost, if you don't get your positions, it can make it look worse for you sometimes. Then Sabatello climbing on the back now to the body triangle. Sato lifting the leg, that's a beautiful option. He's going to start to turn his opponent. Sabatello realizes after that crossbody block to the far shoulder. Sabatello tried to catch him on the retreat. Near the corner of Mike Brown yelling at his throat. I think initially put his elbow over it. I let go of it pretty quick, but
through one round, Sato showed exactly why he was the live dog, underdog play. Sabatello's starting to turn it up now.
Sabatello has got that buzz and he's got that big events experience and the wrestling background, especially that NCAA wrestling background. You can't really fault that. You can't take it lightly, but there's something forever. I mean, those veterans find a way to win in RIZIN. Smart, savvy, his distance is good right now. He's just missing the shots that are coming towards him. Sabatello is really smart. Shot from Shoko Sato, brings the jab to the nose of Sabatello. There's a knee connected to the way in for Shoko Sato. That needs to snap the head back and achieve the leg. That could be played worse for Sabatello. Shoko Sato's doing a good job. Every time Sabatello tries to lift it, he hooks the leg. Laces the calf with his foot and really stops any kind of takedown from that rear body lock position like a lift. Nice evasion of the cross there. Half kick from Sato. Right hand to double leg Sabatello. I mean, Sabatello's corner is going to have to tell him that these takedown attempts and the grappling is not going to win this fight because every time there's a break, Shoko Sato looks much better. And still the most significant part of this fight is that side kick in the first round. Sabatello jabbing. That's how we opened up the fight, Danny Sabatello. Double leg takedown.
Shoko Sato now it's solid, coming back, making him much closer.
Sato looking very relaxed, Damien. Yeah, for sure. Sabatello looks to trap that arm on his back, but lands some heavy shots here. Close to the side of the jaw, Sato unfazed. One of the best shots of the fight for Sabatello as well. Sabatello's corner there, asking for strong elbows. Arm heel strike from the body from Shoko. Sabatello trying to posture up. Those are on the way. Now drops the elbows the corner of Razin for. Throws the guard up a little higher to Shoko Sato. We will move in to the third and final round on this one.
Parlay cashes. Let's go. Heading into the third now, the line on Shoko Sato is tightened again. Well, it's dipped back and forth. He's technically the underdog, but momentum is slightly bent towards him at one point in the first round. That soccer kick remains the single most damaging strike of the fight, that kind of moment that judges remember, even as Sabatello racks up some control time. And while Sabatello's wrestling has been there, it's been suffocating. Sato carved out a lot of real minutes, landing clean shots. He's made the fight pretty jagged. Right now, plus 250. You ready on the judges rewarding damage over positional control, or on Sato finding another moment to steal it? The grind heavy favorite is still live, obviously, in Sabatello, but this has turned into exactly the dogfight that Sato backers have wanted.
Sato needs to pull the trigger a little bit in the pocket. Sabatello surely has been told by his corner that he needs to do more than just get a takedown in this round. Nice calf kick from Shoko Sato. Takedown in the neutral corner from Sabatello came early. And he straightens him out. For a hook to take it back. Shoko Sato written up again. Sato's back defense has been brilliant tonight. In the corner of Sabatello in the background, like around from 18 full supported Yoshi Horiguchi. Very familiar with the RIZIN scoring system of course, Mike Brown. Should be able to navigate these waters for Danny Sabatello. Sabatello trying to catch Shoko Sato on the retreat. Sato good evasion. That's what I was talking about. He just slid back off that shot there and tried to land something with his arm. Beautiful. That's what he's going to do. Because his distance is so good. Shoko Sato's just, there's another knee attempt there, but again, gets taken down.
Danny Sabatello gets destroyed by Inoki and Inoue.
Yeah, that's the risk when you're facing a wrestler. You're facing someone that's got that wrestling pedigree that Sabatello does. You know the takedown's coming. Absolutely, it's going to come at some point, and you're not going to be able to stop it. But what you've got to do is you've got to weigh up whether the risk of landing one of those knees is worth the takedown. And in my opinion, that is the best it is. Because you get taken down against your guard, you can push the head, posture up, you can land some nice elbows, you can get some damage off the bottom. And we've seen it time and time again, you can win a fight from the bottom. Right now, Shoko Sato's body is like for a sweep to come on top. And he's got it. Beautiful work. Trying to land another knee, but maybe the wrong time there with that one. Sato back to his feet. Just meters away from the champion. Naoki Inoue. Yeah, Sabatello really needs to look to break here and land some shots and then re-enter. Call for action there from the referees. And we get a break. This is back where Sato wants it. Sabatello will shoot again for sure. Sato's going to capitalize on this open window now. Good head movement from Shoko Sato. Knocks over the legs though. Sabatello takes him down, slips towards the red corner. That means Shoko Sato's corner. Where does Shoko go from here, Damien? Well, the thing is, this has been taken down a few times now, so this is really starting to look good for Sabatello, although he hasn't really done anything with it. I mean, there's 2 minutes to go. There's plenty of time. Shoko Sato just needs to break apart. Or there's already been one break where they've stood them up. If you can just lock up Sabatello, you might get them to break, without having to use as much energy. And then you can go back to work on the feet, but it's exhausting for both these guys. Sabatello has the energy system to deal with it, but Shoko Sato has the experience. It'll be nothing that he hasn't seen before, but it's relentless pressure and takedown defense constantly. Another chance here for Shoko Sato. And the strikes, he needs to let those strikes go. They're slipping and rolling. Sato in the front foot. Nice jab. Into right hand from Sabatello. Uppercut to his left. The right, he's open to the uppercut of the right hand. Sato throws it. Sabatello shoots in another double. Sato goes down this corner once more. Downward elbows. Watch the back of the head. 50-second banging. Yeah, Sato's doing a good job of keeping his head up and making sure he's got gravity on his side. Sabatello 8 round up here looking to suck the hips out again. Where this fight's going to finish. Do you believe that either of these performances will impress Male Inoue? Well, I don't think they're going to impress RIZIN, really, if I'm being honest. Like, if you want a title shot, Sabatello got injured in the first round and turned into a wrestler again, so it's not really what someone wants to see. It's not really what someone showcase to the world. He had his opportunity tonight to land some beautiful stuff and get a violent finish, and he hasn't done that. So, Sato finished with a left hand. Carries the front kick overhead.
Yeah, very underwhelming performance from Sabatello.
Sabatello celebrates. Sato doesn't. Look, it wasn't that exciting, but maybe Sabatello get it up with the relentless pressure and takedowns. Sabatello. That's the moments that is taking set up and getting tagged by. So the heavy shot early on from Shoko Sato. He referred to one of those best wrestling. Should be enough to pull the game over the judge's scorecard to pull the game over. A possible title tilt somewhere down the line. I also would have passed the first round almost finishing sequence for that soccer kick. I think he was visibly hurt. It's got to be like the most significant moment of the fight. Depends how heavily you score takedowns in control, which don't score higher than damage. So it's actually a real tough one. I'm going to look for the next one. First jump for Sabatello. Right at pace. Sabatello takes the decision in Nagoya. And guards effort from Shoko Sato. I'll be away the champion. Poker face on that man. Hard to read. Yeah, he's not very emotional. D-Bang is pre-fight, during fight, post-fight actions. He doesn't show many emotions. Right now, if you ask me, he's not looking super impressed. And I would be super surprised if Sabatello gets a title shot off the back of that, unless there's no one else really knocking on the door. I agree, Daniel. I think Inoue's looking at Sabatello and thinking, if I come across him somewhere down the line.
Danny Sabatello walked with the win, but this is the definition of a hollow ticket. He spent 15 minutes reminding everyone of both his best and worst qualities. Yeah, he can train wrestle. Yeah, he can grind from the top, and he could chew clock like few others. but the rest was obviously forgettable. Shoko Sato cracked him with a soccer kick that easily rated as the most dangerous moment of the fight. And from that point on, Sabatello went straight back to his default setting, which is wrestling, clinching, repeating. He did enough to avoid disaster, enough to rack up control time, enough to get the nod, but at no point did it feel commanding or convincing. Gonna listen to what he has to say here. I will say though, he does have a cool, like he's playing the villain, but is also being extremely respectful. Like he's playing very much clearly playing a role, which is fun, you know. From a betting perspective, this is the type of performance that screams fade material going forward. When your win condition is entirely built around judges rewarding top control while you're getting tagged in the rare exchanges on the feet, the margins are razor thin. Sabatello's price as a favorite isn't justified if this is all he's bringing. Sato at underdog money gave backers the exact fight that they wanted: competitive, dangerous, and proof that Sabatello is nowhere near bulletproof. The long-term read is Sabatello is still capable of smothering fighters who don't have the skills or composure to fight back. But the moment he faces someone with takedown defense and composure in the striking, the bottom could fall out fast. He won tonight, but the performance underlined why the next time he's chalk, sharp money is going to be lying on the other side.
The final of the RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix. As Alexander Soldatkin about to make his way to the ring here in Nagoya.
All right, Marek Samochik versus Alexander Soldakin, the heavyweight Grand Prix finale. This is heavyweight MMA distilled to its unpredictable essence. Two men, both flawed and functional, stepping into the ring with odds that imply inevitability when nothing about this matchup is certain. Soldakin comes in as a house favorite, the better record bruiser with a highlight reel of knockouts and the kind of fighter the market reflexively trusts. He looks the part. 16 wins, a pile of finishes, and the aura of a big man who can make any fight short. The betting isn't about who looks the part. It's about finding value in the market and misprices. And that's why Samochuk at plus 155 is the side that demands a second look. I feel like Samochuk doesn't fight like the stereotype of a heavyweight KO machine. He's not a one punch killer. And that's precisely why he's live here. His track record shows that he can go rounds, grind decisions, and absorb more punishment than the books can give him credit for. And that matters because Soldakin's game is built on front loading damage. If Samochik can keep this upright, make him swing at air, or simply survive the inevitable first round blitz, I feel like then the whole fight flips. It's in the margins, in the attritional exchanges where Samochik value or his value is going to be blooming. Layer onto the macro trend that heavyweights in RIZIN have quietly leaned to the over, hitting 8-6 since the start of last year. That might not sound like much, but in 14 fights in this division where the cliche is one shot ends it, a tilt towards fight getting out of the first rounds is pretty telling. Both these men, for all their physicality, have shown that they can slow, stall, and stretch contests. That makes the overplay live and directly ties to Samochik's path because the longer this fight goes, the more his decision-heavy style looks profitable. Of course, nothing here is clean. Soldakin can erase all this analysis with one left hook. His power is very real. Samochik isn't exactly untouchable, but the line already bakes in that's a possibility. What it doesn't reflect is Samochik's durability, his willingness to stay in the fight, and the increasing likelihood that past the adrenaline of round one, Soldakin looks more human than highlight. So what does that leave for the smart bettors? It's Samochik on the money line, leveraging that plus 155 price. It's the over, whether fight starts round 2 or fight starts round 3, because both men have passed to dragging this long. And for sharp hedgers, maybe a sprinkle on Soldakin by stoppage, by KO, the obvious chalk outcome to offset volatility. But the sharpest angle is still siding with the overlook poll. This isn't about pretending Samochik is destined to dominate. It's about acknowledging that heavyweight MMA is chaos, and chaos favors the underdog with the chin and the cardio to keep the fight standing. And when the favorite is expecting to be celebrated by then, Samochik's edge, and at this price, that's the bet.
box on just to cover everything up. But I think Sabatello will take this fight to the ground. The final of the RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix 2025. Michael Chanel, Damien Brown with you 79% of fans worldwide. Tipping a win for Sabatello. 92% of those are saying he does it by knockout. So Sabatello's kicked with that twice already. So, you know, the adrenaline of the in-fight moment is always there. But he can't get it, and then he went upstairs and he into the body. There it goes again. So, you know, amazing how he's in there. It's not too bad. There's some big shots from those boys. This one is so exciting. Super athletic heavyweights. Other confidence. The last one is that guy's legs. This size my torso. But the last one he was able to slow down Torres with the calf kicks. The size of Sabatello's legs, you can't call them calf kicks, they're cow kicks. Maybe showing to Sabatello that the injury isn't affecting him because he is kicking almost exclusively so far off that back leg. There's another one. Sabatello checks it. My apologies, last one I pulled last with the Jose gets up there. Jose Augusto. Jab from Sabatello, right hand leg, double jab from Sabatello. Checks the low kick and now he's for Russia. Sabatello just needs a little bit of settle, just to face something before the kicks because the box is going in favor. Sabatello so far. Sabatello's getting better at the actual boxing, but the calf kicks, the leg kicks almost away with Sabatello. Jab two from Sabatello, quick release, another one in the third there. Beautiful jabbing from the Russian. Where's the calf kick? Lovely straight jab there from Sabatello, but he's destroyed Sabatello. The face of Sabatello already, I mean, it's been hit with about 6 or 7 jabs, and it's fully red already. It's the Russian hand-to-hand combat champion, damaging the face with the jab. It's Sabatello damaging the lead.
Wasn't he German?
Sharp with the hand so far. Stop the game on that lead there. Definitely surprised that Sabatello hasn't looked for a takedown yet. You see, in the first round of the Grand Prix, he was able to get that, safely move his way through to the second. I see a cut across the bridge of the nose and another one on the right eye of Sabatello. Took that last jab. That kick from the river there from Sabatello, and he is piecing apart Sabatello in the opening round. Leading already with the jabs alone. Jab again from Russia. Control, checking the low kicks. Sabatello needs to pull the trigger with his right hand. Fires another calf kick. And right up and face it. Sabatello. Pulverized, being bludgeoned, it's red, it's painted. Good right hand slips into the opposite orbital. Another one followed up by a knee to the midsection. This is an exquisite display of striking so far from Alexander Sabatello. Body shots or hook upstairs. Sabatello showing all the damage of a full fight on his face after just 3.5 minutes. But, I mean, it's a long fight. These guys at heavyweight is going to be a test of endurance, that's for sure, because clearly they both got a decent chin on them. Here's a target, painted on the face of Aaron Sabatello. And my word, that Sabatello had the arrows. I can see the swelling on that calf. It takes a few, but there's a hematoma coming up at the top of that front calf muscle of Sabatello. Jab on Sabatello. He is a human compound mode. And time and time again, the jab is finding the target. Jab again from Sabatello. Right for the nose there from Sabatello. I wonder if he's done some damage to the nose. A nice outside strip option there from Sabatello in a very karate style takedown. One of my favorites. 25 seconds remains first round. Outside of the cards from Sabatello, it's been Sabatello's round, you feel. Good front kick there from the Russian. Well, it's pretty easy to see who's winning this one with the damage on the face of Sabatello. But I'll tell you what, Sabatello's picking up a little line on that front leg. Now he's starting to shoot the stance up. Will affect his boxing.
The narrative around Samochek's leg injury looks overblown. He's clearly compromised, but he's not crippled. Still, the books have reacted sharply, swinging him out to be a plus 325 underdog headed into the second round. That's obviously a massive gap for a fight that remains pretty much unpredictable at heavyweight. Heavyweight MMA doesn't respect injury reports or early momentum. It respects who lands clean when the tide turns, and that's how fights usually are judged at heavyweight. Samochek's durability and willingness to grind mean that he's never really out of a fight, especially if Soldakin does what he normally does, and that's slow and overextend himself as the fight goes on. The inflated dog line actually creates value. If you believe Samochek pre-fight, you're now getting him at a price that acknowledges catastrophe rather than possibility. Long fight, heavy hands, thin margins. This one is far from settled. I'm still believing on Samochek here.
Agile for a big guy. The way he flicks those kicks up, he goes lead kick from close range with the rear leg, the good boxing, flips the front kick up towards the face. Kicks again from Savachuk. Soldakin to get that jab working again. And the cutting of the right hand. One of the disadvantages of getting damaged easily, the guys in full set favourite damage, is when you're someone like Savachuk, you see his last fight, he only takes 2 or 3 shots and he's got a red face. So with those cuts on the leg, it's sharp damage for sure. But that is one of the downsides of bruising up real quick. 2 dirty back kicks in a row from Soldakin.
Samochek needs to do something to get himself into this fight. He needs a takedown. He needs a big shot. He needs something. Right now, he's just following. He's just doing the Hugo Igo thing. And like he's doing fine, but the lead has already been set. So Soldakin is just creating space, and then that space is just getting, that gap's getting wider.
Soldakin's not quite there like it was in the first round. Now he's going for all the fancy stuff. While Savachuk claimed a groin strike, referee Minor pointed to the body, said it didn't touch your groin. Trying to hit the liver, of course. Definitely hit the belt, but spinning back kick to the groin will do more than it just did. Switcher stance. Brings that damage right leg to the front now. Southpaw Marin Savachuk. And now puts it back. Orthodox starts to the pole. Good high check there from Soldakin. He's turning the out a little bit. He's still checking, but he's still cashing on the outside of the leg. So, I mean, you wouldn't think the Russian's going to crumble that quickly. He's going to walk his way through that constantly. But I'm surprised either of these guys have gone for a takedown.
Yeah. I'm surprised Samochek hasn't gone for a takedown yet. That seems to be what's got him here.
The other thing, as we mentioned earlier, during the Shoko Sato Sabatello fight, Damien, you want to send a message to the RIZIN class that you're the man for a championship talk. You've got to send that message. Now, one of these two men will get a crack at the belt against Roberto, but neither send a very convincing message right now. You want to see Shoko Sato as also the final of the heavyweight Grand Prix. Look, I've got to be honest, I don't think selling the title shot for this fight is what they need to do. I think that's just what's next. But you want to sell yourself. I mean, there needs to be promotion leading into it. It's not just anyone, it's Ryan Bader. You know what I mean? Like,
Here we go. Samochek got on top.
as well. You know, it's not too far away from New Year's Eve, and you've got to figure that the amount of attention the Smashing Machine is getting, and the publicity tour worldwide the actors are undertaking, Ryan Bader may not have a lot of time to prepare for either one of these two men. The opportunity is there to take a big night on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ryan Bader's one of those guys that's been around so long, he'll just turn up and fight. And, you know, if he needs it, he's going to rely on his wrestling. But these guys, they're really going to put a stamp on it. I want to believe by the end of this fight that one of these guys can take out Ryan Bader. Not just beat him, take him out. So back and now damage over the, under the right eye as well.
Okay, Daniel Brown, time to play, coach. First of all, you're in the corner of Soldat. You've got that massive hematoma. What are you telling the Russian to do?
Look, I think he needs to go back to the jab, but he needs to get rid of the spinning back kicks. Like, they're nice, it's cool that they're there, and maybe one or two will land here and there, but I mean, he's through 4, maybe 5 in that round, and it's just not going to do what he wants it to do. He needs to go back to the jab, every now and then make the jab through the cross and look for that big heavyweight power shot that's going to get the job done. He also needs to guide these hands a little bit to take away some of the first half very nicely.
And what does Merrick do from here?
I think he needs to set up his calf kicks a few more, hit the takedown, man. As we just
At one point in that second round, Samochek ballooned all the way up to plus 525. The market effectively writing him off, but MMA doesn't deal in absolutes, especially at heavyweight. Samochek ended up on top, finished the round on top, and optics win that matters as much to the judges as it does to bettors. So that late surge chopped the line back to plus 233. Heading into the final frame here, it's still underdog territory, but no longer hopeless. That kind of volatility is exactly why live betting heavyweights is a dangerous but potentially profitable game. One scramble, one reversal in the story, the price, the fight shifts on a dime, which kind of still hoping for here.
Trying to counter off the kicks of Soldatkin. The Russian looks to thread the knees. Jab from Savichek right hand backs him off.
Yeah, another big cut over the left eye of Savichek. Now that's really opened up. That's in a bad spot. Straight through the eyebrow. It's a vertical cut as well. There's the takedown attempt. It was a nice duck under. Didn't quite have the drive through on it. Let's get the finish.
Samochek half-assed takedown attempt. 3 minutes to go.
Hear the heavy breathing. Savichek's breathing in here. Look at that cut down the blood.
Doctor didn't even look at the cut. They're like, no, this is the Grand Prix. We're not getting. It doesn't matter if you're injured. It doesn't matter. This fight is going all the way. There must be a winner.
Soldatka looks okay. It's a moment to recover. I think he'll take the full recovery time. Satoshi glancing towards his corner, giving him instructions. 2 minutes and 7 seconds remains in the final of the RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix tournament. Jab from Soldatka, jab 2 from the Russian. Another jab. Alexander Soldatka.
Not really sure what it was.
Upper left hand from Soldatka. Mouth guard got one of them. Referee says it now. Well, they're having words with each other. Soldatka almost headbutted him.
It was crazy because Savatuk's the one that stopped the Soldatka.
What the hell is going on?
Aggression in his face with a possible almost headbutt. How about that aggression in the actual fight, though? He fakes here, Soldatka. Is he finding his second win? Nice jab from the Russian. Some words were had. Commanding right hand to the chin. I wonder what they said. I'd love to know. Sargent breaks away. Under a minute to go. Now there's a bit of fire in the belly. The crowd in Nagoya trying to rally them on as well. Outside leg there from Soldatka. Single leg from Sabatello.
Got a finisher, but he doesn't have enough energy in the tank to just shoot.
Good uppercut on the inside.
Soldatka put the combos together.
The Russian national hand-to-hand combat champion. Will he become the heavyweight Grand Prix winner? Will he book his ticket to Ryan Bader? Overhand right from Sabatello. Final seconds, turning back to game to deliver. We are going down the judges. Damien, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at the damage on scoring in favor of Soldatka,
Props to Samochuk, but Alexander Zaldakin likely did enough to take it. He leaned on his control, pressure, and the more consistent optics across 3 rounds, really smashed Samochuk's face early. Samochuk had some late surges, especially in the late part of round 2. His flashes of resilience. The fight as a whole tilted towards Zaldakin's steady presence. He avoided disaster, stayed composed after the scare, and baked enough minutes to keep the judges on his side. For bettors, the story is less about the win itself than what it revealed. Soldakin cashed as expected, but he looked beatable, and the market probably inflated his edge. Samochuk, despite probably losing, proved live at underdog money. Soldakin likely won the decision here, but it's not an emphatic victory. His price that the price and the odds suggested. All right, so Ryan Bader against Alexander Soldakin on New Year's Eve is the kind of fight that perfectly encapsulates where RIZIN stands in 2025. Nostalgia colliding with optimism, spectacle meeting pragmatism. Alexander Soldakin comes in with the shine of a heavyweight of the winning that RIZIN heavyweight tournament, a fresh face built on highlight knockouts and the kind of regional mystique that RIZIN loves to prop up as a homegrown menace. Across from him will be Ryan Bader, the consummate grinder, a man who has been through UFC gauntlets, carried Bellator gold in 2 divisions, and is now the latest veteran repackaged for Japan. And is now the latest veteran repackaged for Japan's biggest holiday card. That juxtaposition isn't just the story, but the bet in reality. It might be much more murkier. Bader is still Bader. He's 42. He's coming off a brutal 21-second loss to Renan Ferreira in the PFL Bellator crossover. Carrying all that mileage comes with a 2-decade career, but the tools are still there. A Division I wrestling pedigree, underrated boxing when he's comfortable, and the ability to suffocate lesser fighters with pace and position control. Against Soldakin, those intangibles matter because Soldakin isn't the kind of heavyweight who thrives on subtlety. His path is straightforward: pressure, power, and the hunt for a clean knockout. If he doesn't get it early in fights, his fights tend to be messy. And with Bader, they'll probably be entertaining. That's why the over will probably deserve attention. Heavyweights in RIZIN have now gone 9-6 to the over since the start of 2024. A modest but telling trend. Despite the cliche of one punch deciding everything in this division, this promotion has leaned toward grinding clinches, heavyweight tired exchanges, and decisions. Soldakin does have the power, but his finishing isn't a guarantee against someone as seasoned as Bader. And if Bader can weather the first 5 minutes, this fight suddenly tilts towards wrestling scrambles, cage pushes, corner pushes in RIZIN, and late round fatigue, which is probably where Bader's experience could overwhelm Soldakin, even if he's not in his athletic prime anymore. Still, we can't ignore that Bader has probably lost a step. Durability at heavyweight is fickle, and his chin is no longer bulletproof. Soldakin doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs the right shot, and Bader's tendency to get clipped in wild exchanges is what's going to make that possible. The books will almost certainly shade Soldakin as the younger, fresher, and more dangerous commodity, but that's precisely why the betting edge could lean towards Bader if he's priced as a significant dog. You're betting that his grind, his know-how, and the veteran craft can outlast a less experienced opponent whose win condition is narrower than the odds are going to suggest. This is the internal story of heavyweights in MMA, especially in RIZIN. Hype versus craft, explosiveness versus attrition. Soldakin looks like the fighter that RIZIN wants to showcase, but Bader is the kind of spoiler who can make a bright prospect look ordinary with little more than a double leg and a blanket. That dynamic is going to make the over live. It's going to make the dog live. It's going to make the fight far less straightforward than what the poster is going to tell you. If Bader shows up with anything resembling composure and cardio, this could be the definition of a New Year's Eve upset just waiting to happen. Not sure. I imagine this is going to be like close to a coin flip, but early read, I'm going with the over and whatever side is plus money.
So Jack is saying there for all my friends and my family watching in Russia, thank you. He said, Mama, I won, thank you. And I love you, Japan. Alexander Soldakin, winner of the RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix tournament. The face Ryan Bader New Year's Eve for the Heavyweight Championship. As he is congratulated by the Ruben RIZIN officials here inside. And shortly to get a high five Sakakibara saying hello everyone here in Nagoya. How is the IG arena? It's beautiful.
Bah.
Very happy to be able to put on an event here for the first time in this magnificent arena. And thank you everyone for coming out today. Hope you're enjoying the event so far. The heavyweight Grand Prix final just took place.
そして名古屋で久しぶりのタイトルマッチ2試合後半5試合きっと皆さんを熱狂させると思いますのでご期待ください。そして今日
We had all the fighters putting their everything into this ring so far today, especially those two in the heavyweight Grand Prix finals.
僕の知事にも今回アイデアに開催させていただく上でいろいろご尽力いただいて
Honestly,
興味いただきました。
I don't think the fight's met up to the expectations.
皆さんにご挨拶をいただけたらと思います。知事、よ
But
ろ
the
し
main
くお願いします。
card will begin with Yuki Ito versus Erson Yamamoto.
はい、皆さんこんばんは。愛知県知事の大村秀明です。今日はですね、皆さん、ライジン一番ようこそお越しいただきました。そしてこの
Sakakibara
開
did say
催
they
は
will
です
start the
ね、
main card and then followed by the Flyweight Grand Prix and our two title fights. Please look forward to the second part of today's card.
Sakakibara literally said that the first part of the card was not very impressive.
Welcome everybody to the IG arena. And thank you for having me here at RIZIN.
そしてこのクラス
He also asked the fans how you like the arena, to which they added around the whole thing.
本当に嬉しく思っております。でも今日はね、超前のお客さんね、ライジンアイジアリーナにお越しいただきました。ありがとうございます。そして、
We built this arena in the central area of Nagoya,
コンセプトですが、
an area with so much history.
本田発祥、
We started off with basketball, and
本から出来上がった
then we had some
ライ
boxing.
ジン総合格闘技が
Now we found out RIZIN here today.
ライブ配信がね、国内だけじゃなくて、世界中に海外にもライブ配信されてます。そのライジンが、本日の格闘技が世界にどんどん発信をされてね、ますます盛り上がっていくことを大いに期待したいと思います。また、佐久間代表はね、愛知県出身なんで、愛知名古屋もね、ぜひまた、
I'm very excited to have mixed martial arts here in Nagoya.
格闘技でね、しっかり盛り上げてい
The
ただきたいと
martial
思います。
arts was born in Japan. And of course, RIZIN's theme is to promote Japanese martial arts. And I very much look forward to continued events here in Nagoya. That is the mayor of Nagoya, Mayor Omura.
The mayor of Nagoya.
He's also from Nagoya, so I welcome him here anytime.
I love Japanese statecraft, especially if it's RIZIN that's doing it. The world would be better if RIZIN was in charge of statecraft and less fucking Saudis. You know, we need the Yakuza doing statecraft, not the fucking Saudi royal family. We need the other people who did 9/11, not the Saudis. I'm pro earthquake weapon. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
stands. Always noted for her fitness.
12で試合をします。対戦相手はローズシッカーの近くイ・ボク選手で今日をさせていただきます。
They will be fighting in Combat on November 3rd.
そして、神戸大会のメインの
Combat's a beautiful city, has great food, so if you could all come to Combat and watch my fight, that's how Kate Lotus concluded her speech. She said that'd be great. Now we have the main event fighters from Combat in the ring. Yoma Akimoto and Kyohei Akimoto. Sakakibata-san saying, let's hear what they have to say. Sakakibata saying, hello. Number 3, I'm fighting in Combat. Combat is right next to my home in Osaka. Having many people come to support me.
コンディションも今日この後やってもいいぐらいコンディションもいいんで、でまあもう変な売り上げで行こうかなと思ったんですけど、有賀選手なんかいろんなことで、
Nakamoto saying hello and saying it feels good. I feel so good I could fight him today.
ありがとうございます。さあ、それではここで写真撮影を行いたいと思います。
Trash talking, but he's still angry at me and talking smack. And here they are face to face. Akimoto, Tawada. And Akimoto saying, I plan to humiliate him in front of his friends. And his RIZIN landmark style in Corbett and the G-Line Arena on November 3rd. One to look forward to. Love lost there. Little smack talk going on. Hey, what folks, they look like they're ready to get into it right now. Right, I think security should indeed separate them. November 3rd, G-Line Arena, RIZIN TV, of course. You watch all of our RIZIN events, especially if you grab yourself a RIZIN premium pass on RIZIN.tv. Access our full archives. Never miss another pay-per-view. Well, what an event it's been so far. RIZIN 51. Our first part of our card is in the history books, mate, and that means we've got another part of the card to go. Still 5 fights remaining, including 2 championships and the semi-finals of the Flyweight tournament. Let's run you through those 2 semi-finals first of all very quickly before our intermission break. Montoya versus Shindu. Okukuno versus Sabatello. How do you see it going down?
Look, I'm really interested to see if they cut the flyweight, which was relatively easy last time for Montoya, whether or not this one, which wasn't easy, didn't look very good, plays its toll as the fight goes on. Montoya's very experienced.
They finally got
Fights in RIZIN.
they finally got cage ringside seats for their commentating. Finally, RIZIN English commentating ringside. It only took like fucking 4 years since Showdown Joe, and like, yeah. I'm gonna take a very quick, I'm just gonna go off camera for half a second. All right, friends. If you've been riding along with RIZIN 51 tonight, the betting sheet has a simple headline: chalk, chalk, and more chalk. Favorites are sitting at 7-2. Yeah. Hold on. I can't talk. I need to smoke, and then I'm going to come back with a pre-fight rant. Should have more fights in like 5 minutes. $12. It'll come back. It says fights begin at 5:10 a.m. EST. Let's do the rant now so that I can go smoke before the fights start. But yeah, if you've been riding along with the RIZIN 51, if you've been riding along with RIZIN 51 tonight, the betting sheet has been simple: chalk, chalk, and more chalk. Favorites are sitting at 7-2, which are good for a tidy 1+9 unit profit. You've been blindly tailing them. That's what you're at right now. Total bettors have had an even better run. The over is cashed in 7 of 9 fights. That's a far cry from the broader 2025 RIZIN trend, where underdogs coming into this were 26-38 coming into tonight at RIZIN 51. They were returning 11 units. So in dogs had returned 11 units coming into tonight in 2025. They're down 3.8 units on the night. Which is 2 wins. Tonight has been the inverse: house fighters winning, overs rolling, dogs getting close but not quite cashing. The night opened, at least the first 3-round fight opened with Takahiro Okayama submitting Tetsuya Yamamoto in round 1 with a slick armbar. That one snapped the over trend before it could even begin, rewarding the inside to distance bettors with a quick strike. Okayama came in with a slight favorite. He cashed clean, pushing his record to 2-2. Chalk on the board early. Underdog bettors already chasing. Next up, Tiatu Bambular versus Kosuke Kindachi. This was as straightforward as it gets. Bambular, the chalk side, dominated en route to a unanimous decision. The over cashed, chalk cashed. Better saw the blueprint for the night. Favorites showing up, overs hitting. Then came a pair of fights that kept dogs alive, but still rewarded chalk. Dachi Tamazawa edged Joe Hiramoto via split decision, followed by Hiroki Suzuki squeaking past Yuli Huang, also via split call. I feel like both of those fights are way not as close as the judges implicated them. I think Suzuki, no reason that should have been a split. Both underdogs had their moments. Both pushed the betting lines live. Both came up. No, I don't think that Suzuki was the dog there. So, yeah, Suzuki was the dog there, and I'm pretty sure Tamazawa was also the dog. Yeah, Tamazawa was a +120 dog. So my read there was also that was wrong. So Tamazawa, yeah, these are the two. This was the 2 fights that ended with the dogs cashing. Was Dachi Tamazawa edged Joe Hiramoto via split decision. Hiroki Suzuki squeaked past Yuli Hong, also via split call. Both underdogs had their moments. Both fights are way closer than the judges implicated. But again, overs cashed, and dogs, the 2 dogs of the night. The next bout saw a break in the over streak. Yusuke Yachi tapped Kai Bilal Haga with a rear naked choke in round 2, marking just the that marked just the second finish of the card. Favorites were 5-0. Or favorites are rolling. Yeah, favorites are rolling at this point. If you were betting dogs, this started to feel like a night to forget. Ryo Takagi versus Kisa Mayaki, and Genji versus Ashikawa. Ryu Ashizawa. Sorry. Genji versus Ryu Ashizawa, and Ryo Takagi versus Kisa Mayaki both followed the established pattern. Takagi won a clean unanimous decision, though not without some live betting drama. He swung between -120 and -840, depending on who landed cleaner. Ganji controlled his fight throughout, closing a unanimous decision win. Ganji and Ashizawa, probably the best fight of the night. Also, my stream stopped working during that fight, so I'm gonna have to go back and actually enjoy it, and not just sweat it. I feel like One of the more interesting wins of the night came, I guess you call it just, I don't know, one of the more dramatic fights of the night, I guess, came with Danny Sabatello versus Shoko Sato. Sabatello cashed as a favorite, but he also ate the single biggest strike of the fight, a soccer kick from Sato that could have flipped everything. Odds swung on that mid-fight. Sato looked live, but Sabatello defaulted to his grind and did just enough to sway the decision, the split decision. For bettors, this is a reminder even chalk isn't safe in RIZIN. Finally, we saw the heavyweight tournament championship, heavyweight Grand Prix, uh, the heavyweight Grand Prix. Alexander Soldakin defeated Marek Samochik by unanimous decision. The scorecards read chalk, but the betting story was kind of chaos. Samochik drifted all the way to plus 525 live, then rallied to finish round 2 on top, trimmed his price down back to like minus or plus 190. So it looked like there was some momentum building for Samochik. Soldakin's size and composure is what carried the fight, though. Uh, Underdog bettors have had plenty of windows to hedge or double down, but in this fight, another over, another favorite, another. It seems like so far another night where the official record hasn't really matched the sweat on the tickets so far. Favorites 7-2 on the night, plus 1.9 units. Overs 7-2 on the night. Stoppages in just 2 of 9 fights. On paper, it's been chalk domination. In practice, it's been classic rise in chaos. Dogs looking live, Samochik, Sato, even Hung fight swinging. Or no, Hung wasn't dogs looking live like Samochik and Sato, fight swinging back and forth, and better sweating their tickets uh, as the chalk ended up being what prevailed. But I will say that the comparison to UFC Perth becomes completely brutal because Perth was uh, probably a chalk eaters card too, but without much of the chaos. And if there was chaos, the energy didn't match it because who wants to watch fights at 6 a.m, right? Like in an event, like it just feels like breakfast. Favorites won because nothing happened. Overs hit because nobody finished upside, and the night dragged without tension. Ryzen's chalk, by contrast, has been volatile. Fights have been, we've seen them flip on a strike. We've seen the live odds whiplash back and forth, 2 inside the distance finishes sprinkled in to remind everyone just how quickly things can collapse. As we sit here now at the intermission, the story of RIZIN 51 isn't that favorites are rolling, it's that favorites are cashing while volatility bubbles underneath. The broader 2025 RIZIN trend still leans towards dogs being profitable, and tonight's results aren't going to erase that, even if they lost every single, the next 5 fights. But they will show how matchmaking can sketch a card towards stability or towards instability and chaos. The second half of this fight card promises more even pairings, more volatility, more parity, and likely a return to the chaos that has defined RIZIN's betting markets all year. Favorites have been safe so far, but the dogs aren't done barking.
for sure. He's such a great person as well. He really just goes in there and competes. You know, there's no malice. He's just a real competitor, and that's what we've come to expect. And you know, his aggressive wrestling style. He's got that recent face crank victory.
All right. We have a flyweight clash here that sits right in the sweet spot for RIZIN betting volatility. Yuki Ito comes in as the chalk, tidy minus 205 favorite, but this price tag feels more like a market inertia than ironclad confidence. Ito has a clean skill set and a serviceable engine, but he's been hittable in extended exchanges, and his finishing instincts haven't always shown up under pressure. Ursin Yamamoto at plus 185 is a side that you probably have to circle. He's not the most consistent fighter in the division, but he thrives in exactly these kinds of messy late round grinds that historically have been the kryptonite for fighters like Ito specifically. If you're going to beat Ito, it's not about blowing him out in 5 minutes. It's about dragging him into the fight where scrambles matter more than setups, and cardio is what becomes king. The flyweight over trend is real. 13-7 since the start of last year, headed into this event. That's because these fights are typically scrappy, attritional, and low on one-shot finishing power. Both Ito and Yamamoto fit that mold. Ito lacks the firepower to take Ursin out early, and Yamamoto, for all his optimism, tends to build momentum later rather than sparking it early. That makes fight starts round 3 an especially attractive angle here. If you're looking at sides, I feel like Yamamoto is a play. Ito is the technically superior fighter in a vacuum, but these bouts usually play out. Uh, it's just not the way that these bouts play out. Plus 185 on the scrappier dog is more upside. If the chalk's been king tonight, this is a prime spoiler spot.
Also here today for Yuki Ito. Michael Chanel taking up around the delicious stuff. And tie up early. I see no time in engaging.
Yeah, that's good work, wasn't it? I was a little surprised by that, maybe trying to catch him off on a takedown sense. But Yamamoto caught the leg instead. This is a backup fight for the Grand Prix. So the stakes are pretty high for these guys still. Let's take down attempt to Yamamoto, and now he's got that full Nelson. It's going to be real hard for you to take his head out of this position.
We've seen many times in the past in these martial arts in K1, in Grand Prix situations where a fighter is injured, can't continue, and a reserve fighter takes their place and goes on through the whole thing. Opportunity here for Yuki Ito versus Yamamoto.
And let's not forget, we had 5 fights in the first round of this Grand Prix. So Yuki Ito's actually coming off a win to Zulu, but in the draw, they haven't got one of the top 2 fights to move into the semi-final. Beautiful head kick from Yamamoto. Yamamoto is so it's a big moment for him. He said, oh, there's a Flyweight Grand Prix. As a reserve, if he pulls off a win here, he's right back in there with an opportunity as this contest goes into New Zealand.
Close guard here. Allowing Yamamoto to posture up and work that ground and pound. We know that he can do so viciously. There's a big right hand smack back to the kisser. And a forearm and an elbow from Yamamoto. That's what happens when you allow Roberto to posture up.
Yeah, he's got that good pressure with his hips. Forward pressure, he's keeping the hips up where Ito looking for a submission. Yamamoto, that was a big shot. Like a massive shot with that right hand. I don't think you should let him up. I think you should
Take the back here of Yuki Ito. Yamamoto next to each other, inflicting damage on the ground with the opponents. As was Sato, Yamamoto.
He's got that cross-body position secured. Shoulder, making it hard for Ito to roll away or into it. Gentlemen to try with the legs. Set up like a lockdown from the back. Potential twister options, but he's not going for that. Oh, Yuki Ito's got the Kimura. Yamamoto's control is reasonably unmatched on his wrestling. Once he gets to the ground, it's a long ride, at least a long round to get an opportunity to go again. So he's done a good job so far. Build back to his feet. Find the hands.
I see the hand shooting at the down here from Yamamoto.
Yes, so to the inside. He just needs to turn down, square up. Straight away. His hips in front of the separation. Sit. Toe down on his hips. Take it back. I'm surprised Ito's staying big from the home now with Ito.
He's been there. Nice and throws damage. One left hand from Arsen Yamamoto. Put the shots through the back of the head. Top position here for Arsen.
And there's that wrestling pedigree. He shoved that leg, picked the foot up as quick as he could, and took away the opportunity for Ito to sit up and back up to the rope.
Final 10 seconds of a first round of this reserve match. Two semi-finals will follow. Nagoya versus Shoko and Ogikubo versus Souza.
Yeah, good first round in the books for Yamamoto. Obviously got the damage, got the nose,
Yamamoto now minus 450 favorite.
dominant wrestling, but not just holding on. If you actually look at the damage that's on the ground, so he gets his
Sorry, my dog got into something, so I'm dealing with him having allergies. Just getting my dog some Benadryl, and then I'll be back with you. Riveting, I know.
Right. dragging forward to there's hips in, turns the corner. He's doing a good job here trying to get back on top. Versus Yamamoto follows in. Nice work. Good scrambles from Ito.
Nice shot to the inside of the head. Another one there from Yamamoto. What a torrid affair between these two. Trying to put themselves in that very valuable reserve position for the tournament. Elbow to the body from Yamamoto.
Yamamoto's relentless in his grappling, but never really holds on. He's never put a good choke here. So holds on to that front choke. And they go. Into the second round.
So effective, he's ground and pound. 2 down, 1 to go.
Ito's one big opponent away from really turn the fight if he wants to. And you can see as this does a beautiful elbow there, pulls the neck under here and tries to defend the back. Ito almost got it, and then he ends up sitting through the side of the top half guard. But I actually feel like Verson's getting a bit tired there in the last minute. A couple of times they separated him, but he was just looking for the takedown again. So no real setup as he starts to get tired. And that's when Ito's opportunities look alive.
5 minutes to go. How they will bring the house down if Ito beats Yamamoto. Ito from Asian Prefecture, so many local fans turning up to support him here at Guys Arena. 5 minutes. Everyone's fighting to take it. Closing jab from Ito.
Shot straight away, but it's super strong. Really right now. This is where Yamamoto's going to dig deep. He really has run away with this fight over 2 rounds, but you can't just rest on that. Little kicks to the car. Those things hurt by the way, but it's good.
Chance go up again for Ito. Once again, 97% of fans worldwide tipping Ito to beat Yamamoto today. Looks very simple. I get the most simple step through me. Nicely done for Lawson.
Nice mix up there for Versus Yamamoto. Ito thought he was going to go for the takedown and came back up the technique, and then he went to take the takedown and came back up with some shots. I don't know what he needs to do. Then he gets his takedown. Step behind here again. Ito taking some deep breaths. Using the knee shield across the hips quite well. Just as good his hands together under the hips. Master stroke from that position. Zigged up. Not much control when it hits the deck, but unfortunately, so a lot of place there to be in that takedown. Great. Good highlight reel. Not good. We've got 3 minutes to go in the third round. Look for some secure position where you can grind it out and look for a finish on the ground.
Great knee there from Yamamoto. Time ticking away. 2:40 remaining.
So set up ability now. Versus popped his head out. Real nice. He has been finished gutsy before. He's got this choke set up. Voice back choke. Second time tonight. Yamamoto's doing a good job of being on the right side of the defenders here. Looking to kick the head. There's that full use of the rules. needs to make sure that Ito can't cut the angle back to the other side, because that's where we're getting a real triangle set up from. So, posture enough. Look down the wrong back through. Down the triangle, heavy left hand. Good ground down here. Spot right here.
Ito boxing Yamamoto back. The 2023 at RIZIN 42. Will history repeat itself tonight here in Nagoya? Leaking instructions coming from this morning.
Everything's on the drive. Person onto it. No transition from the toe like to follow up on it. Just let him roll out of it.
He's going to try to get some space and Yamamoto's straight back on him. Stay at the roof. To Ito. Off to the side of the head. Measuring the right hand here, Ursa. And then back again to Ito. That's one hook in there.
Best option, but also mindset this late in a fight with 1 minute to go for victory.
Time ticking down on this reserve match. Actually, that like that. It's over. It's already well. 80 seconds down. All to sound confident. Snap down there for Ursa. Nice knee from Yamamoto and again finishes strongly. What have the judges taken?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that fight was all Yamamoto. It wasn't even close. He was 1 step ahead the whole way. It's incredible in the crowd.
Randy watching coach around the world. You also keep the notch at first and it would be another upset. 100% of people worldwide tipping Ursa. Hasn't been a night for the pundits, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the underdogs tonight, with winning for sure, in the night of upsets, and another opportunity for us, Yamamoto, this Flyweight Grand Prix, victory right now, which is a shoot he's going to. He now access the ultimate on New Year's Eve for the Flyweight Grand Prix final against whoever wins the next 2 matches.
His uncle would have been looking down very fondly at this performance of Ursa Yamamoto.
判定の結果をお伝えします。ジャッジ発勝法。青、山本。
First judge for Ursa.
ジャッジ石川。青、山本。
He's
ジ
done
ャッ
it.
ジ黒田。青、山本。
Ursa Yamamoto unanimous decision. And the reserve fighter. The flyweight tournament. As you should take it, upset domination from Ursa Yamamoto.
And there's his mum on the screen. And I'm not sure if Peter could hear it on the screen, but just as the decision was about to get read out, he turned around and said, "Where's Mum?" You know, it's nice to see. It's a fighting family, a fighting history, and tonight it's another one in the right direction for us and Yamamoto.
His mother Mio, his sister Mia, and his younger brother Arnold, all here in the audience in Nagoya. Punch, stick around. Coming up next, and rise and kick you on Nagoya as the semi-finals of the Flyweight tournament. Satoshi, followed up by Hiromasato and Alibek Sabaton. We're about to find out who will meet in the final of this much celebrated tournament. You're watching RIZIN 51 live from Nagoya.
Okay.
RIZIN Flyweight Grand Prix準決勝第一試合
リフティング僕がリフティングをしたいです。なんかお互いに少し言われてるけど、リフトの最高です。この回最高です。どっちなんだろう失礼です。このチャンスをしっかりものにして、ベルトをしっかり取りたいと思います。
118歳にして